This is going to be a kind of general channel update, but it's mostly about Emerald Squad. That's what you clicked on the video for. It's in the title, it's in the thumbnail, everywhere. First, I want to address some confusion. The game's art style is the Game Boy, so we get a lot of comments that are like, hey, we need this on a Game Boy. I can't believe they're still making Game Boy games. Hey, is this in GB Studio? It's not. I assure you it's not. It's not in GB Studio. It could not run on a Game Boy. It looks like a Game Boy game, and that was an art style choice. That has nothing to do with anything else with the game. The art style, I specifically chose to make it like that. It's not even true monochrome. Most elements are pure grayscale, but then there's a few green tinted ones. You can see that in the game. The Emerald Flame. I guess you haven't seen that in the game, but you've seen it in artwork and stuff. The EX icon, the little sparkles for that. They got the little green tint. Maybe it doesn't show up very well, but it's there. The screen's too big. The game would take up too much space. The stages are really big. I don't know if you've noticed, the stages are pretty big. It could not run on a Game Boy. Okay? Now to the actual point. The video is probably titled, What Happened to Emerald Squad? Something like that. You're probably wondering, what happened to Emerald Squad? I mean, if you're clicking on a video titled, What Happened to Emerald Squad? Clearly, you're asking. Well, you can see from the background footage, I'm still developing the game. It slowed down because the Kickstarter didn't meet the goal, didn't even get close, I didn't get any of the money anyway. But that means that I can't work on the game full time, I'm gonna have to get a job. I have to slow down development significantly, but it's not dead. I do know why the Kickstarter failed. I am an unknown developer. People only watch my channel for that one viral video. You know the one. You know what. If you're watching this video, I know why you're here. I know why you're here. But anyway, not many people have heard about the game, and even less people have money to support it. It's pretty obvious to me, that to make the game succeed, I'm gonna have to put more work into becoming known. I'm terrible at marketing, but I do have a YouTube channel that a lot of people are conveniently watching because of that video. I know why you're here. I might start posting devlogs, or maybe not even full devlogs, just some videos where I show off some stuff. Try to talk like this. I'm not good at talking unscripted, so I actually have the loose script I'm reading off of. I'm talking not very well from it. But I'll make some videos talking about the development of the game. Now you can see Harmony on screen with her new overpowered dodge roll, zooming across the stages. She has that now for a reason. I can't afford to work on the full game full time. I'm unknown, I need experience, I need feedback. So to address all this, I'm making a prequel game first. Same code as the main game, same gameplay, but it'll have new stages, new story, and it's not following all 5. You can't play as all 5 in this one, just Harmony. Because with the lore I wrote for the game, none of them would make sense in a prequel game except Harmony. She's the only one who would work for it, and it works because she's the all-arounder character. She's the one who has a little bit of everything in her skill set. So the stages in that game will be more tailored to her gameplay, and her new crazy roll is going to be part of it. I'll work that into stage design, and she's getting that in the main Emerald Squad too. She doesn't get that specifically for the prequel. She gets to just do this in the game now. Wasn't in the demo because it wasn't made yet, but she's getting it in the main game too. She's not the only one who's gonna get it though. It's not like she's immediately the super powerful speedrun character. Every character's getting some sort of dash, some sort of movement buff. Maybe not all as good as Harmony's. Helios is a speedrun character, so he's definitely getting an even better one. Everyone else is probably gonna get something a little worse. But I got a lot of people saying the game is a bit sluggish, so having a dash, that'll probably help. I'm not just buffing Harmony for her own game, everyone is getting a buff. I was just like, well, if Harmony's getting her own game, I'm gonna need to do hers now, and I can do everyone else's later. So that's why she's got this new dash. You're seeing it. I'm zooming across the screen on there, having so much fun. It is so satisfying to play. I might even put out an update to the demo, just so people can play around with this, because it is legitimately the most fun I have had. I am addicted to my own game now. Anyway, the prequel, it'll be a few stages long, not very long at all, and it'll probably just be a $2 to $5 game, maybe even less, I don't know. It's not really about the money, it's about just getting the smaller scope projects for y'all to sink your teeth into, something for people to see, something from Emerald Squad that people can look at and be like, hey, This game. It's a game. And then it'll get eyes on the main game. As for that main game, there's a lot of changes that are going to come to it after I finish the Harmony prequel, which I don't know how long it's going to take. Maybe a few months, maybe more. I don't know. We'll find out. For one thing, I was pointing out the main Emerald Squad game might be too short. If you played the demo, you'll know how long the average stage is. They're pretty big. There's 3 in the demo. And the final game was originally planned to have 10 to 13, depending on how things panned out. But even if the stages are long, it'd still end up being a really short game with only 10 to 13 stages of that length. It's not really that the stages are long, it's just they're very big, they're very expansive, they're explorable. My intention was that because they're so explorable and you have 5 characters, even if the main campaign is short, it's okay because you've got so much to explore, you can play through it with different characters. So it'd be a long time before you actually see everything in the game, even if the campaign is short. But I do hear the complaints that it'd end up being too short and it wouldn't be worth the money. Especially since I'm giving all the characters a dash out to make the pacing better. That's gonna be even quicker to get through it now. And yeah, that's perfectly fair. I can't just add new stages, because the story is pretty solidified at this point. I don't want to mess up the pacing of the story for the sake of the pacing of the gameplay. I want both to be in balance. So instead, I'm going to have each stage split into 2 acts the length of one main stage. And yes, haha, get it out, it's just a little Sonic reference. The stages are already called zones in the game anyway, so it felt fitting to keep the reference, inspiration, whatever you want to call it. So the game is essentially going to double in length, because each stage is going to be 2 stages using the same theme now. Another issue I want to bring up is the combat versus platforming debates. I don't know if anyone has seen that, but I wanted Emerald Squad to cater to a lot of different types of players. Every character has their own little niche. Selena and Helios are pretty good at platforming and bad at combat. Anne and Jade are pretty good at combat, bad at platforming. Harmony sits in the middle. Well, not anymore. Look at her zooming across the screen, probably still. Insane. But with testing and the demo feedback, the issue is intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation regarding combat. Some players found the act of combat intrinsically fun, and they'd fight enemies just because they wanted to. That's the camp I was in. I never even noticed the issue because I thought fighting the enemies was pretty fun. But extrinsically motivated players very quickly didn't care about combat and ignored the combat-focused characters outside of boss battles, because while the platforming of the stages are required, fighting the enemies isn't. You can just jump over them. No one's stopping you from doing that. So the issue was there was no extrinsic reward for combat that you could also get from the stages. They could drop potions, but you could also get them from the stages. So the only reason to fight enemies was if you wanted to, and for extrinsically motivated players, that's not enough, they need a reason to do it. So I am going to make a few changes to make it more rewarding to fight enemies, so beyond just the fun of fighting them, you do have a reason to want to go out of your way to fight them. For one, I'm going to add some more potions and specifically change the way potions work. So enemies will only drop potions that help you in platforming, like you can only get your jump potions by killing enemies. But likewise, in the stages, you'll only find potions that help with combat. So, if you want to get a potion to aid you in combat, you have to engage with the platforming and exploration. But if you want potions to help you with platforming and exploration, you need to engage in the combat. So you can get the boost in the area you want by going and playing the other aspect, and it just balances out. And another thing I want to do, because there still is the issue that combat is optional, platforming is not, by making it so enemies drop some kind of currency, some sort of currency. Maybe you'll be able to find it in stages, but if you do find it in stages, it will be extremely rare. They'll be placed in similar places to where Emerald Medallions are now. So you're not going to get a whole lot of it from exploring. You're going to be getting it from enemies, if you want a large amount of it. And you can use that to buy potions before you go into a stage, and you can use it to get permanent health upgrades. I'll actually nerf the starting health to 5, but over time you'll be able to upgrade it to even larger than it is in the demo right now. So combat will still be optional, but it's just there's a lot more rewards for combat. Meanwhile, platforming is mandatory. Thus, there doesn't need to be as many rewards for it. But that being said, exploration there will be a reward for that. It's not in the demo yet. It hasn't been coded into the game yet. But the stages are made with so much of an exploration aspect for a reason. There's going to be collectibles that you get from exploring. I don't know if I did a bad job communicating this or something, but there's going to be collectibles in the stages. I'll be able to unlock the music, and you'll be able to unlock little lore tidbits. So, for people who want to explore the stages and find stuff, that's what you get. You can get the music, you can get the lore. Fun times. That's all I have to say on Emerald Squad. That was kind of rambly. I had a script to go off of and I still somehow rambled. But if you have thoughts, questions, or suggestions regarding Emerald Squad, first of all, play the demo, which I'll link, so then you can actually know what it's like. And then go in the comments and tell me your thoughts, questions, suggestions, and maybe if there's enough comments, I'll make a follow-up video addressing what's said in the comments here. And answering questions and such. But that aside, there's a few things that aren't Emerald Squad that I want to mention, just for the channel in general. Firstly, everyone who subscribed to my channel because of the Dinky song, I'm coming back to this again, the Dinky song, and for everyone who subscribed for that and actually stayed and are still watching my stuff, I want to thank you. I didn't put out that video thinking it would go viral. I didn't think anyone would watch it. It was just there as a record of my friends messing around on Twitter. It was named that because it was a reference to a YouTube comment on a upload of Slippery Steps, which is the name of the song, by the way. It's called Slippery Steps. Did you know that? I put it in the description of the video. It's been there the entire time. I still get so many comments asking what the song is. It's Slippery Steps. Anyway, the fact that it's blown up hits me for psychic damage every single day. I wake up and there's like comments on it. There's people making memes of it and it hits me with psychic damage, beams directly into my brain, killing my brain cells. As for the song covers, those aren't dead. I don't know how many people have followed me for them. I know some people have subscribed to me specifically for the song covers. God bless you for that. I've taken a break of them because I want to make them at a higher quality. I know people have complaints about my voice because I sound like a man, which is fine when I'm voicing DDD, but in most other cases it turns people off. Don't care. I'll get voice training on my own time. I don't need your validation. I'm not less valid because I don't have voice training. I can still sing if I want to. There are genuine issues with the song covers that aren't just people not liking my voice. The microphone quality and the editing, those I do want to address, those I want to improve. I have a new mic. I'm using it right now to record this. And hopefully when I come back to song covers, it'll be a lot better than what I've been doing. So for everyone who's actually subscribed for them, you'll be getting, hopefully you'll be getting something even better than what I was putting out before. And lastly, a lot of people donated to the Kickstarter or wanted to, but couldn't at the time, and it didn't meet funding, so even if you did, you got refunded. Or maybe you just want to support me because you see the Emerald Squad gameplay in the background, you hear me talk about it, and you're like, man, I want to play this game, I want to get this game actually finished, I want it out. I have a Ko-fi, and I'll put it in the description, and maybe if I get enough donations from that, I can work on the game more regularly. That all being said, if you sat through all that and you're still here, Secret Emerald Squad, the true nature of the Emerald Flame